Alex Charfen wrote this book called The Entrepreneurial Personality Type. And the fundamental premise of this book is that entrepreneurs have, I don't know if it's a completely different range of emotions or whatever, but an entrepreneur, if you ask them how their day is going, if they say good, it is because they are in momentum. And if they say that it's not good, it's because they're not in momentum. And this can be a personal feeling of momentum about their work, their activities that they're doing at work and in their business, or it can be about the business itself, because oftentimes, because entrepreneurs are so wrapped up in their business, those things are deeply intertwined. And so I want to talk to you about this idea of momentum today, not just like as an entrepreneur, but specifically as a marketer, as a copywriter entrepreneur. The people who tend to subscribe to my stuff are that. Like, we are copywriters and we're marketers and we are entrepreneurs, and we're all about momentum. And I want to teach you today some ideas about leveraging momentum to create more success in your marketing and in your work. So let's dive in. These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough. By the way, if you find today's episode interesting, make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe, do everything you can to engage with this episode so you get more content like this delivered to you. And today's sponsor, as usual, it's definitely tied to me, but today's sponsor is a little bit different. It is the $1 Million Google Docs training from Ian Stanley. So I'm part of this joint venture program promotion with Ian, promoting his new training on $1 Million Google Docs. And basically, Ian came up with this idea of turning Google Docs into media for sales messages. And I think it's going to be a huge format for marketers going forward. And in fact, for copywriters, I think there's a huge opportunity right now to make this part of what you can offer to clients. And so if you actually check out the link in the description, and if you purchase Ian's program through my referral link, I'm also going to be doing an exclusive training to help you get clients for projects where you are leveraging the power of these $1 Million Google Docs to have more success for your clients and more success for you, for yourself. So check that link in the description to $1 Million Google Docs, and let's get into today's episode. So this idea of momentum, right? So this week has been a week of a ton of momentum for me. So let's see. Last week, when I started gathering momentum, right? Like snowball rolling down the hill. When I started gathering momentum, I was doing a product of the month promotion for my freelance copywriter website. So I did the short-term promotion, and I knew right after there was going to be this promotion for lifetime access to BTMSinsiders. It's something that I shut down. I no longer offer it, at least not now. And so it was like one thing after another. And then in the middle of all that, this thing comes up. And by the way, next week is the first full week of summer. And so I'm out of office for a few days, basically all of next week for some family time, which is an annual thing that we do with the kids to make sure that, we start off summer well. We have annual family time at the beginning of summer, on top of a lot of other family time, right? But it's the special time that we make sure that we take at the beginning of the summer. So there's all this momentum going into being out of office, which always carries its own, both stress and opportunity, right? To get a lot of things done beforehand. And then Ian Stanley comes to me with this $1 Million Google Docs thing. And I know for your sake, I can't not talk about it because this thing is huge. This thing is exciting. This is something that I think you need to be a part of. It's something that I wanted to be a part of. It's super cool. And so even though it was kind of last minute and I had to wedge it in there, I said yes to that. And so I'm doing all of this stuff around the $1 Million Google Docs thing, including planning this new training. And I even created, as part of that new training, I created an entire huge not a huge file, big choose your own adventure thing. In the context of $1 Million Google Docs, if you go through Ian's training, you can learn about that. If you go through the link in the description, you'll learn about that. But I created this choose your own adventure Google Doc to actually sell this as a service, because I think that copywriters who start doing this right away are going to have a ton of cool client work coming to them. And so I created that as part of this training, because I'm going to teach you using this Google Doc how you can create a similar thing for yourself and get this service. But right, so like all of this momentum is going on. And then last night, Perry Marshall's assistant comes to me and she says, "Hey Roy, Perry's going to Europe next week. Can you fit in a copy review before that?" And so today I have a copy review with Perry Marshall. That's yet another thing on my schedule before before I'm spending this time out of office. And it's just like all this momentum, all this saying yes to things, because oftentimes, like if you want to create momentum, you have to say yes and figure it out, right? So there's all this stuff going on and all this excitement and all these sprints. But the good thing about that is that momentum begets momentum. And this stuff does tend to pay off. If it's well-directed effort, this stuff does tend to pay off in terms of top line and bottom line revenue. And so as a marketer, you want to be saying yes to things as much as possible and finding a way to make them work, because, and especially as an entrepreneur, as a copywriter, as somebody who you know, we deal with this thing where there's different periods where clients are more or less excited about work, or where different opportunities come to us. You say yes when opportunities arise, if they fit your criteria for being a good and interesting opportunity, and you figure out how to make them work so that you can really get this momentum. And then you can share that momentum, because your messages, the way that you communicate, if it has momentum, it is also an attractive thing to prospects. But I don't just want to talk about this idea of just saying yes and, "Oh, Roy, you know, you're busy. Okay, great." Right? I don't just want to talk about that. I want to talk about momentum in markets, and then I'll talk about some momentum in media choice as well. So momentum in markets, this is something that that's definitely an effective way to get a lot of response in the financial copywriting world, but it's not limited to that. You can use it in lots of different places. So for example, you know, I came into financial copywriting during the last big precious metals run up. And I happened to get a client in financial copywriting who specialized in precious metals. And so we were like, I was basically riding a wave here that the price was going up. Everybody was talking about precious metals. People were piling into precious metals. People were excited about investing in precious metals. There were new ETFs and things that allowed you to invest in precious metals in unique ways. There was different opportunities in precious metals. And just by talking about this topic that had momentum in the market, there was a ton of opportunity to be seized in selling investment recommendations. And the same thing has happened over and over again with lots of different things. So I remember there was a trend in 3D printing. There was a trend in Internet of Things. There's a trend, of course, recently, things like crypto and you know, different tech stocks, like the big social media stocks. There's been all of these different trends. And then like the market crashes and there's a trend in the market crash. There's a trend in like mass media news. And you can hitch your wagon to these different news stories, these different trends, these different things that are happening. So like, oh, Tesla is doing this thing and this little company is set to profit. Or, you know, this big change has just happened in how social media companies are dealing with the government, and this company is set to profit, right? It's like all of these big stories that people are already thinking about, already talking about, already reading about on a regular basis. You come in and you provide a new angle. So this story has momentum. This story has traction in the marketplace, and you provide a new angle that may make it personal. So, for example, in investments, it's personal profit, right? But the same thing happens in different markets. So, for example, you know, you would have had been living under a rock to have missed like the whole keto trend in the fitness and health marketplace. And it's not something that I necessarily ascribe to, but it is something that, from a marketing perspective, the people who follow keto as a trend, they are able to basically talk about this topic that everybody else is talking about. And as long as they provide some kind of new and unique insight into the topic, they are able to capture attention. Now, that's important because when you're grabbing onto these big news stories, you want to be careful that you're not just saying the same thing that everybody else has been saying for the last, 30, 60, 90, 180 days. Because if it just feels like the exact same message, it's going to be not interesting. The people who really succeed from the down the middle message on any of these topics are the people who do it first. But then after that, there is this effect where you can just grab onto the momentum of the topic and take it in a slightly different direction, and you can get a lot of attention for your marketing messages. And so one thing that I would encourage you to do is figure out, what is everybody in your market talking about right now? What changes are going on in your market? What are the big news stories in the market? And it can be big, like pop culture or national news stories, or it can be very specific to your market, to your industry. But figure out what messages have momentum and are likely to have momentum for the next at least 30, 60, 90 days if you're launching a new message, or if it's a very short-term thing. You can do it on a daily basis with daily email. But what you're looking to do is grab onto the momentum of these stories and find a way to spin it into something relevant to you, to your offer. And so that's a way that you can leverage momentum in markets. You can also leverage momentum in media. And this becomes super relevant for the copywriters among us. But for example, when video sales letters were brand new, basically marketers were taking the same text that they would put in a normal sales letter, maybe adapting it a little bit because it's going to be spoken, but then redirecting that into a video sales letter, recording themselves speaking it in the video sales letter, having the text appear on screen. And it was something that was wildly attractive to markets. It was different, it was unique, it was interesting. There was momentum in the attention paid towards this. Plus, the other thing that happened is, from a copywriter's getting clients perspective, it was something where clients were suddenly wanting to pile into this new media opportunity, and they were looking for copywriters who had the capability, who were confident enough to try out this new media. And there's other media, like this is happening all the time. There's slightly new there's slightly new variations on media formats, or forays into new media formats. And when you find one of them that works, there starts to be a lot of momentum in the marketing world, like, oh, we need to do a webinar funnel. We need to do a book a call funnel. We need to do a, this thing, that thing, or the other thing. We need to do these new Google Docs sales pages. We need to do, whatever the new media is. Clients are like, okay, we need to do that. We want one of those things. And if you are a copywriter who has at least a base level of confidence and ability to go in and create something that is that's a reasonably good use of that media, suddenly you're on the forefront of this and you can leverage it for your own success. But the other thing is, a lot of times these different media formats, because they're something where prospects are not used to being sold in the context of that media format, the clients will have a far easier time enjoying success with that media format versus other media formats to share the same marketing message, because it gets a different type of attention when people are not used to being sold to in that format. So that's one of the reasons I'm excited about Google Docs sales pages right now, because people aren't used to getting sales messages in Google Docs. And so there is this openness, there's this beginner's mind to this format, that when people arrive, they're not necessarily expecting to see a sales page. And if you don't tip your hat right away that that's actually what you're doing, you have a lot of very devoted attention of people going through your Google Doc before they realize that it is actually a sales page. And so with that, with that in mind, that is an example, a current example of how you can grab onto momentum in media choice and use it either for your own business or for client businesses, and to get client work as a copywriter. So the question is, how can you, whether it's just in the things you're saying yes to at work, or in big market stories that are going on, or trends in your market, or in the media choices you're using, how can you tap into momentum and make it your friend as a marketer to be more successful now? And don't forget, there's that link in the description to the $1 Million Google Docs. And if you want to get clients as a copywriter for $1 Million Google Docs, only if you order through my link as part of this promotion, you will get an exclusive training with me on using $1 Million Google Docs to get copywriting clients to do $1 Million Google Docs projects with. It's kind of meta, it's kind of fun, and I think it could be very profitable for you as this new media choice ramps up in its momentum. So I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Every day and every episode, I'm here trying to help you increase your marketing genius. And hey, tapping into momentum in every way that you can is a great way to be an even bigger marketing genius. I will catch you again in the next episode. See you soon. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.